Stick with us. But yeah, so oh dog, I was fucking loving this spot. So essentially it's a 6,000 square foot plot. Columns right down the middle that divides it into three, and this restaurateur who's up in Seattle has like 4 or 5 other really big restaurants. He's coming down here and put one in. He was going to take up 4,000 square feet, leave me 2,000 square feet right there on the strip. Like,
perfect location. Pretty
perfect. But what they were asking was about twice what I was, you know, kind of looking for.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's still a possibility because just the way I was running my numbers was at a set price of what I'll be charging. But if we're in a nicer area with a whole renoed like building, a nice restaurant right in here, 2 other of the nicest restaurants in town across the street, like perfect place, you just double the price and now we're sitting right in the money. But just for my first like traditional business brick and mortar location, like I want something kind of,
it could be
manageable.
Really intimidating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like with all that overhead, the space, I get that.
Right. I'm a firm believer in scared money not making any money. You know what I'm saying? So
it's all about risk.
I'm not. That's what I was telling him the whole time. Like I'm not opposed to running numbers back and seeing if we can make this work.
Right.
But ideally, I would like to start somewhere a little bit more manageable.
Some a little bit more low key. Maybe not low key, but.
I'm not even worried about low key. I'm gonna do my
I guess attainable.
Honestly, like it's a beautiful business model because I kind of want to keep it as basic as possible and open to interpretation. Because it's not about how I want it to look. It's
how people are receiving it.
About what the customer wants to do to the spot. Essentially, I'm just subleasing a location to the customer.
So your business right now is clothing, right? You're developing a clothing brand.
My business is getting the fuck out of the post office by all means necessary. I'm doing a lot of stuff right now, but yes.
I can vibe that.
We got the clothing line going right now. We're obviously working a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, when the pandemic hits, I'm not a big put all your eggs in one basket guy.
Don't ever, yeah. That's a mailman's type of thought process.
Yeah, no shit, dog.
Got the 401, got that retirement.
I'm here for 45 years. This Toyota Camry gonna last till the end.
Got the bennies.
Yeah.
You get lifers out of there.
So we're doing that, but as soon as like the pandemic hit, so obviously like I'm looking at opening up an event space, which if you break it down to bare bones is fitting 25, 50 people into a small enclosed room.
Sure.
Not ideal for current conditions. So as hopeful as I was, it was only going to be a 2-month thing. I was pretty well aware that probably wouldn't be the case. I had my hopes up and, was keeping everything tight, keeping an eye on it, but pretty quickly got to like making a pivot. We had to figure out what was going to be the move.
Yeah.
But how did COVID affect you and your money and your business? I know it's been something for everybody.
So as you know, I'm in real estate and property management. As far as real estate goes, I had my biggest, most successful year in real estate that I've ever had through 2020.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Like I hit numbers that I'd never hit before that I was super stoked about. I had tons of opportunities from investors. I had a couple of return clients from people that I worked with when I first got into real estate. So it seemed like real estate actually took off more so when COVID hit because the interest rates came down.
Yeah.
Inventory went down, so the buyers got super aggressive and started overpaying on everything. And so it was almost like a feeding frenzy. Everyone thought that it was going to tip the other way.
So what do you really attribute to you having your best year? Like, if there was one thing in specific.
I just started grinding.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know if it had anything to do with the current season of it, but I just started pushing harder and like putting a lot more energy into it, going to seminars, networking with people that have been doing this a lot longer than me. And I've really just taken risks. Putting myself out there more all the time, constantly thinking about it.
Yeah, when people think about real estate, one of the biggest selling points is you're your own boss. You make your own hours, and that can be a positive or a negative depending on, how disciplined you are.
Yeah.
So if you're going to seminars and you're going out there and seeking the information, I always, it's kind of a weird thing, but I always try to invest like a solid portion of my yearly income in myself, whether that's books or seminars or whatever. Like I buy a lot of courses online. Like
that's self-care, man.
Like legitimately my entire business plan,
I
bought. I paid for.
Hey, whatever.
But I mean, is the best $1,000 I ever spent. $1,000
Yeah.
to get a full course that breaks down an entire business model that
Yep.
potentially revenue 120K a month or
For sure.
120K a year.
That'd be nice.
Not a month.
That'd be nice.
But get 10 spots and
That'd be
now you're
nice.
at 120K a month.
Nice. That'd be nice.
We got big goals, but one at a time.
Yeah, and I guess it was just everything. It kind of came together. Major life changes, more free time. My management job, that I work out of, it's like the family business. They slowed down in business, so I was able to lock in more time into real estate. You know what I mean? So I kind of just switched gears in my life and ran with it. I think that the rental industry has taken one of the biggest hits. Maybe not the biggest, but that industry took a big hit from
In the
COVID.
perspective of the renter or the
investors,
okay.
the owners.
Yeah.
Because through COVID, the tenants got so many more tenant rights.
I know.
The eviction
they were
moratorium.
not trying to let go of that either. Have they let go of it yet? Or is
No. It literally
so.
keeps getting extended. I think right now it's the end of June is when it's supposed to lift for like the umpteenth time, and that's been affecting the homeowners the most because the tenants are given all these rights. And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of tenants, not saying everyone's like this, but there's a lot of tenants that are taking advantage of the situation, that are still working, that are getting unemployment, that are getting rent subsidies, like all that type of stuff, and they're still not paying the rent.
Yeah, that was, I hope I'm not cutting you off, but honestly, that was one of the biggest things I worried about, because I, of course, milled over real estate. Like any sort of go-getter mills over real estate. It's going to come in your path one way or another.
Hey, let me just put this out there. It is not as easy as it looks.
No, and I'm glad you're saying that, because this is like one of the key things that nobody tells you about when they're doing their real estate seminar.
Because people that are good at it make it look easy.
Right.
It seems like, the market's booming, I'm going to get into real estate.
Right, exactly.
The easy part is getting your license.
Okay, so now you go and do your thing, and you do secure a property, and now you're renting it out, but you didn't run a background check on this person, and so you lock them in for a 6-month lease, and you're already counting your money before you got in the first check. And
most times it's a year too.
That's what I'm saying. And then what do you know? She decides, I don't really want to pay this. And depending on what state you live in, like you said, they have a lot of rights. You have to now go and fight them legally in court to kick them out of your house because they're not paying you your rent.
And you can't do that right now.
And you can't.
You literally
right
cannot
now.
evict people due to non-payment of rent right now.
Right. So now you have, say you bought this house, and conservatively you've invested $350,000 into this house to try and pull out what, $1,500, $2,000 a month.
Yep.
And you're not collecting any of it. These people are sitting in your house doing,
So now
they're not going to pay you rent. I can't imagine they're going to treat your house that nice.
Right.
And as an owner of the property, all that,
it's kind of sickening, man. It's kind of disheartening.
Yeah, it is. And it's not something anyone ever tells you about. So I always have buddies, and I try and do my best to walk this fine line of not killing people's dreams, but making sure they know what they're getting into.
You're a realist.
Yeah, not that I have any personal experience, but I talk to a lot of people, and I like to figure out, I am totally an advocate for always taking the harder route. I'm never a big, if you can get it easy, it's not worth it. And so I always like to press people and see, what are the challenges that people aren't talking about? What is the hardest thing in your day-to-day? And when it comes to real estate, it's almost generally the tenant.
Yeah, as from an investor's perspective, renting and managing a property can be really challenging. You're almost like a mediator, right? Because you represent the owner, but you're also there for the tenant.
Right.
And so you kind of have to walk a fine line of keeping it professional, not being too much of friends with either one.
Right.
Because
someone's going to expect favors.
Okay, right? And especially tenants that, they come up with all these sob stories like, I lost my job and my dad died and my cat has cancer and all these things amount. Yeah, everyone's got problems, man.
Yep.
And so all these things can amount up to you feeling sorry for them. And then before you know it, you're justifying them not paying rent to the seller. And now you're no longer doing your job well.
Yeah, and who does that hurt? Everybody involved. It doesn't do anyone.
It hurts my reputation. It's going to hurt the tenant's credit score. And it's definitely hurting the owner's bank account. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe they have 2 mortgages. Maybe they got the first to purchase the house, the second for the renovations.
Right.
Maybe they even have a third because they did down payment assistance when they first bought the place. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many ways that people can over leverage themselves and then get screwed.
Yeah.
Get screwed. I mean, truthfully. And that's why I wear two hats. As a property manager, I manage a lot of rental properties.
Okay.
I manage commercial spaces. I manage rental homes, condos, apartment buildings.
So, forgive my ignorance and not to cut you off,
Yeah.
but what does being a property manager entail?
So, in the most basic sense, we are a middleman between the owner and the tenant.
Okay.
And so what we do is we allow homeowners to have an investment like a rental property, but be completely clear-minded about it.
Never have to touch it, never have to be
Right.
on site.
We do the leasing. We do all of the contract negotiation. We handle the lease. We take care of the maintenance on the property. We do regular checkups so that the tenants are obviously following the terms of the lease. We step in as a landlord so that the actual landlord doesn't have to.
Right.
You know, we do all the work. We put the money in their bank account every month, and they don't got to think about it. So they're just getting a return on their investment.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, so does that have like pros and cons opposed to like, there's obviously a reason why you wear both hats, and I'm sure you were just about to get to that before so I'll let you do your thing.
Yeah. I think one reason that I'll probably always stay in property management is because not only does it feed my real estate business, but people will always need a place to live.
Right.
If you can't afford to buy a house, you're going to rent one.
Right.
Okay. And it's kind of just the nature of it. I have a pool of homeowners that I can essentially network to and say, hey, look, I can sell your home for you. I can give you a great rate because you're already a client. Or I can help you buy another one and manage it for you so that you don't have to worry about getting a crappy tenant in your house. And so one literally feeds the other. Like they feed each other.
It's a little ecosystem.
Yeah, it's almost like fertilizer.
But it sounds like you're the one doing all the work.
I'm really, really thankful that I have a team working behind me in the management company.
Okay.
Logistics
and everything.
Yeah. So I refer to myself as, what's the word for it? Client. I do all the talking and I do the showings and I make sure everyone's happy. And then I give all the work to my team.
Okay.
So as far as like the bookkeeping, the collections, all of that kind of day-to-day nitty-gritty financial backup, upkeep and stuff of the files, I give that to my team and they handle it.
Gotcha.
And I go out and I bring in more business.
So you're the mouthpiece. You're the pretty face.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Awesome.
A wink and a smile.
Yeah, man. Well, and you know what? I think it's fair to say you're not any sort of real estate group without the one hot chick who helps selling houses. And I don't know if you got chicks on the team, but if not,
most of my staff is girls.
Even better. I honestly, and I don't know why. I feel like the majority of them end up in real estate, like the real fear. Like, okay, so I don't know if you were a bad kid in school, but I was a bad kid in school, and so I still.
No comment, man.
Anytime I hear the sound of like heels on linoleum,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I got a supervisor at work, and every time
here comes Dr. J, man.
Yes,
here comes Dr. J, man. Like, shout out Dr. J Stadium. What's up?
Dr. J.
Yeah. She was fierce, dude. She was a
food fight.
Yeah, dude, she was a fierce woman.
Her and my mom almost got him up. Yeah, that's a whole nother.
You know what I did though? I thought ahead of the game, she was always tripping on everyone cleaning up their lunch mess. So she'd be freaking out on everyone. So I would go and clean up everyone's lunch mess. So whenever I got in trouble, they'd send me to her and she'd be like, what'd you do?
Okay.
Go back to class.
Nice. See, I have.
My dad taught me that, man. You got to take out their garbage, give them high fives, and do what they ask. Because you know what? They're going to have your back.
Yeah.
It's all about big mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think she was one I really put forth the effort to get on her good side, but I definitely.
She was mean, man.
Yeah, bro.
She was mean to a lot of people, but she liked me, so I ran with it. I was just nice to her.
I can't exactly remember what she told my mom, but essentially, it wasn't my fault I was doing wrong. It was my mom's fault for the way she raised me. And I'm like,
thanks, Mom.
Yeah, you might not have want to said that one.
Yeah.
You got a little wild.
That's something my mom would say, man.
Who was the security guard that was banging the students?
Mr. L,
yeah.
dude.
Oh, yeah.
He had the two girls pinned. Oh, dude, that's some juicy content right there.
I remember we were like 10th grade. He's security guard, and he had "fuck the police" tattooed on his stomach, and he's working as a security guard for the school.
I caught him rolling up a blunt one time after school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's funny.
God damn.
But what I was saying was, women in real estate are no fucking joke. Like, you want to, I'm not saying they're all swindlers, like they'll do their job, but
Yeah.
if you're not watching, you are liable to get swindled by a hot chick in real estate.
Yeah, man. I've seen it happen.
That's one of my biggest fears. Like, I love sales, so like I'm a salesman at heart. Like,
Yeah.
even if I know for sure I'm not gonna buy your thing, if you got the confidence to approach me with something, I will hear out your sales pitch.
Sure.
Every time. I can't do that with women because they'll get me.
They
And
will,
so
dude. I know.
Especially something like with a house or an apartment. Like, I'm glad we got guys like you out here working. I can shoot straight with you.
Yeah, for sure. No, you're right, man. You're right. There's a lot of females that do really, really well in real estate. I'm not saying it's because they're beautiful.
No, and neither am I. I was trying to make a joke.
But it helps.
But they are beautiful.
I promise
and they
you it
are
helps.
killers.
They do, yeah.
Yes.
Lady killers, man.
It's not one dependent upon the other. They are working in unison,
Dude.
and it's dangerous.
Yes.
That's all I'm
In numbers, dude. In numbers.
You ever almost
You're
been
signing a
talked into
paper
something?
before you even know it.
You almost ever been talked into something you would have regretted pretty immediately? Mm-hmm. Yeah? I had a buddy.
Yeah.
He said, I'll let you go first.
Yeah.
I had a buddy, we were out in, all right, so listen to this. So me and my girl, we planned an anniversary trip out to Mexico for like our anniversary.
Sure.
And it's like one of the timeshare things. So, you know, you got to sit through some little presentation or whatever. It's an hour and you get stupid deals on the all-inclusive. So we did that.
Oh, yeah.
And then my buddy was like, oh, we want to come. So I told him, you know, this is what we did, yada, yada, yada. They don't do group packages, so, you know, but this is what all we got.
Yeah.
Fucking calls the guy up, hey, I want the same package as my buddy, like, Spencer, bop, 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 bop. And I'm like, and they're like, yeah, we don't do group things at all, so your buddy's going to be kicked off the list. You're not. And so they... Dog, we had like this nice timeshare resort and all this shit, and so what ended up happening is they were like, well, since you guys are a group, like, we'll set you up at the Holiday Inn. So we fucking stayed at a Holiday Inn in Mexico. It was like a Holiday Inn beach resort. Dog, it was
Big pimping.
garbage. It was garbage. It was like the shower tile was everywhere. Like, everything was just shower tile. It was nasty.
It's all sandy from the people before you.
Yeah, but then, even though the homeboy fucked it all up, we still had to go and do the timeshare presentation. And so, yeah, so
So, wait.
yes. So
Why? Didn't they kick you?
Because
Didn't...
we had already paid for our thing, and it was,
Sure.
it's through this whole, you know, vacation conglomerate.
Okay,
You know, they
almost
fuck
like a
you one
travel
way,
agent
they got
kinda
a
thing.
second option for you to come in, and they'll still gouge you, but...
Yeah.
And so I guess the Holiday Inn was on their list of approved for retards or whatever, you know. Like, whoever messes up there,
This is where they go.
this is where you get
Send them to
sent.
the dungeons.
So we get sent there, and so we pull up for the presentation, and immediately before they even say anything, they're loading you up with free mimosas. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, me and my girl, we know the deal. This is not our first time.
Yeah.
Let them do their thing, drink the free liquor, tell them no at the end.
Yep.
This is my buddy's obviously first time. He didn't get that memo, so he's like, oh, like, this is how a timeshare work? Like, oh, that makes hella sense. Like, oh, I'm about to, and I'm like, hey, like, I'm getting drunk. I'm talking. So at this time, I'm in Amway, so I'm like talking to him, and I'm like, dog, I know you're paying. Like, I know what it's like to try and sell something nobody wants.
I know Amway, man. Yes, I did one of them pyramid type things
Oh,
at one
yeah.
point.
We
You ever hear of Zri?
No, not
Good.
specifically.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Is
man.
it like a company or
I'm
something?
not gonna talk about it, dude.
Yeah, there's some horror stories out there.
But yeah, internet
so I'm
marketing.
fucking juiced, and I'm talking to the dude who's like presenting, and I'm like, you know, my buddy's like trying to figure out. He's like, hey, can I call my grandpa real quick? He's like, no, we have to figure this
Right
out
now.
or never. And I'm like,
High pressure.
hey, dog, quick piece of advice. Let's bounce out of here. And he's like, but dog, like, I'm gonna take a vacation every year.
This is a
All
great.
right,
This is
dog.
a great investment.
I'm like, I can't save you. Do
Oh.
your thing. Eventually, I think, you know, he didn't buy one, but he got close.
Man, I think just speaking on that Zri thing, it's literally one of those internet marketing Ponzi type things,
Okay.
and I got swindled into it like right out of high school because I've
That's the
I've
best
always
time.
been kind of a salesman.
Yeah.
I've always sold stuff. I mean, I made it through high school buying and selling cars and car parts and motorcycles. That's just like how I.
Right.
That's how I just didn't want a job.
Flip it.
I'm not really into that.
Yeah.
Pick it up, clean it, and sell it for more.
Exactly.
And so
I'm interested in hearing about this.
I thought, and I had friends that I went to high school with that did pretty well for themselves. They started like a photography company, and they were getting flown out all over the world to shoot these like crazy beautiful resorts and like make these marketing videos so that they could use them on their websites.
And this is more than one friend doing this?
Yeah, so they were a team. And they double teamed me, metaphorically speaking, of course. And they talked me into buying into this Zri thing, and it was like a buy-in and a monthly fee, and you got product, and you tried to motivate other people to buy a product, but the real money was in recruiting.
Signing them up,
It was in recruiting.
Right.
And so I invested a bunch of time and money that I didn't necessarily have into this company, when all along my initial thought was, this is a pyramid scheme. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't do this.
Do you mind? What kind of products were they selling?
So it was Ayurvedic. I don't even know saying the word. Ayurvedic medicine is like natural
so it's like
medicine.
Icelandic berries and
Yeah, it's like really like the monks would drink that stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's supposed to like heal you from almost like
they
like
had some cool story for it.
dude. Yeah, it has Zri. It's a cool name, dude.
Yeah.
Zrii. And it was all
Zrii.
about like all these like people like meditating and like wellness from within type of vibe.
Did you hear about like that Nexium cult that just got busted? It kind of sounds something like that.
No, I didn't hear nothing about that.
Oh, okay. This is a wild one. They had like, they were out there. They were like getting celebrities in this, and they were like branding them on their private parts. And
What
like,
is
all sorts of-
Nexium? What is? I know that name.
Again, it
Did
was
you
just
pull up
another-
Zri?
Yeah.
You pulled up Zri.
Yep.
This is on their LinkedIn. So it was founded in 2008 with the goal of making lots of money.
Let's read some business. Is that what it says?
That's exactly what
Yo, 2008. I was new on the scene. I was new on the scene.
You were you got in when it was new. You got in when it was good.
Brand new,
That's
yeah.
why they won't call it out though, because it is started by Deepak Chopra.
Yes.
Who's Deepak Chopra?
You don't know who Deepak Chopra is?
No,
You want another one of these though?
Yeah. Did you bring these?
No, he did. Your brother did.
What are we drinking today? Orange Whip from Fortside Brewery. Where they out of? Vancouver, Washington. We got it local. This shit is fire.
Yo, speaking of Vancouver, do you know I used to race motocross?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so I got my first motorcycle at 3 years old, my third birthday, and I got into racing motocross in like middle school. And I had a super gnarly crash, dude, up at Washougal, which is just outside of.
I know where Washougal is.
Oh, do I have my jewel? Can we vape together? Oh, yeah. So I had a super gnarly crash out of Washougal. Vancouver just triggered that, but I was 15 years old, dude. I got put in the ICU.
Oh my God, it was that bad?
I got smoked, dude. I punctured a lung. I compressed
Holy
my spine.
shit.
I fractured my right hip. I had bleeding in the brain.
What happened?
I don't even remember riding. I woke up in the hospital, like no clue. I just fell from like close to this between 20 and 30 feet, going like probably 50.
Did you hit the jump or off a cliff?
Yeah, it was
or
off.
something?
It was off a jump on the track,
God.
and they said I cross lined, and so I was in the air. And my bike went completely sideways, and I just bailed off. And
Oh, no. How old were you?
15.
Oh my.
Good thing I was made of rubber at that point.
Yeah,
I think
no
if that happened to me
shit.
now, I'm on the recovery right
Well,
now
I was
from
just
an
gonna
injury.
ask you about that. We're jumping around, and I still had some more questions about this multi-level marketing. I was in the game for a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
no. How's the Achilles doing? And what is the story on that? I never even heard the story.
I mean, just good old Crystal Mountain.
Oh man, we've lost some soldiers this year to the mountain.
You know-
We got one in the studio right now.
The thing is, man, I'd been riding all day. I'd been hitting the same thing all day. It was just it was compact powder, just like a fast groomer day. You know what I mean? And we were recording our speeds and elevation and all that type of stuff on the app. You can get the Icon app or whatever you want to call it. And you can record all your stats. And so we were trying to get the highest speed stat, like longest jump stat, all that type of stuff. And I just had a funky landing, going probably around like 40
And you're snowboarding?
on my snowboard.
Yeah.
And I just landed a little
Not
funky.
great.
I landed a little funky, and when I landed toe side, it like shot me into a carve, and all the weight from the jump and the speed just hyperextended my ankles backwards, and it just snapped it.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was bad, dude.
Oh no!
I tried to stand up and walk it off, and immediately fell over forwards. And
no.
it was brutal, dude.
So did ski patrol have to come and
Oh,
bag
yeah.
you up?
Yeah, they bagged and tagged me, man.
Oh,
they
man.
threw me in the toboggan and
They
skated
put
me
you
over.
on the lift?
No,
Oh,
I was in the middle of the mountain, so like they literally showed
man.
up on skis and put me in their canoe thing and like strapped me down.
So this guy has a similar story. He was carving through the trails and ran into a tree. He was up at Mount Hood and messed his knee all up. But they had
my knee and leg.
Dude, bro, I have a chipped femur on my left side, right above my meniscus.
Man.
I know, I've had some injuries, dude.
Yeah, so they tagged and bagged him, but they had to put him up on the lift because he's at
I
Mount
feel like
Hood.
I could see your brace.
Yeah, I got
Brace buds.
I see you.
Yep, we watching.
Oh man, that stuff brings back memories right there.
Yeah, I know. I've been pretty consistently each year only getting about 1 or 2 days on the mountain, but it's expensive as fuck now, man.
I know. I get the season pass just because.
Yeah, how much is the season pass this year? Like,
So if you go through Icon and you get it like early, like I think they're already selling next year's season passes right now. I think you can hop on the train.
bird?
Yeah, I think you can hop on the train for like between $600 and $700.
oh my god.
But look, put it in perspective, dude. If you go up to
Yeah.
the mountain 6 times or 7 times, it's paid for. Because a
Right.
normal lift ticket's almost $100 these days.
It's like 100. I think it's like 120 after tax or something.
It's crazy.
Well,
It's
no, I
madness.
think it is. Yeah.
That's madness, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts. Well, and here's the deal too. Fucking prices keep going up. You're not doing anything new. It's still boards on snow. You're a hill with snow on it. Like,
And the thing is, man, is it's supply and demand.
I know.
Just like our real estate economy, our actual economy is booming, and there's tons of money. I mean, there's just tons of money in Washington right now.
well, yeah.
And
I
Crystal's
think
been developing
a
a
lot
lot.
of people forget how much money is in our state as well. Like, we have pretty consistently been pumping out the world's richest man for as long as I can remember who the world's richest man is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember being like 9 and hearing a fact that like Bill Gates had enough money to give every person on the world $9. I'm like,
Oh my God, really?
what? So you
Get a
do
Big
the
Mac.
math on that at like $6 billion or $7 billion. That comes out to like, 7 billion people. It comes out to like $56 billion. And now he's probably tripled his net worth since that day. Like,
He's been doing some stuff that people are questioning. He's been like buying up like tons of. I'm just saying, he's in the spotlight lately.
yeah, it's funny. I watched the South Park QAnon vaccine thing last night. And I'm telling Jacob, I'm like, dog, I'm glad I'm not computer savvy. Like, I for sure could have got sucked into QAnon. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad it's over.
Yeah.
But like, so we went and did the Museum of Modern Pop or whatever. It's like the EMP where they had the Jimi
Okay,
Hendrix
dude, the
experience.
EMP was so cool.
It was.
I did that as a kid, man.
Yeah,
That stuff was
it's
cool.
not like that no more. You're not touching no instruments or nothing like that. It's all Museum of Modern Pop. So it's like Minecraft and all sorts of weird stuff in there now. So we just went and did that, right? And they have some like super hot-headed security who was just ready to fight anyone whose
What?
mask was under his nose. So like my kid runs off and I run after him and chase him, grab him. I'm holding my kid with both hands and my mask is under my... Sir, I know it's probably an accident, but I need you to pull that mask up over your nose.
Whoa, dude.
Okay. All right, cool, dog. So I go and like do my shit, and then he yells at my girl's dad, calls security, did the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And like, so at this point, I'm like pissed off. I'm like, man, like I'm
That's
so
a vibe
tired.
killer.
Dude, it is
That's
like
a
it's
vibe
rough.
killer.
I love people. I love going out and doing things, but like with the mask police out, and really, if like I get it. I get you got a job to do, but let's all take a communal breath here, guys.
Let's be human.
Let's be real. So by this time I'm pissed off. I'm like, fuck this. We're leaving. Like we get out. So where we park.
I'm never coming back.
so it gets way better, bro. So where we park at, there's like a whole group of people like protesting and stuff. I have no idea what they're protesting for or
Sure.
anything.
Sure.
And I look and I see, and it's the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation building. And then I look, and they're all like, honk if you hate the mask mandate and stuff. So now I'm getting them all fired up. Bill Gates is the devil. Like, they're like, yeah, like, oh man, it was wild. So
Look at you, inciting a riot over here, dude.
crossing them, I'm like, you guys are real patriots. Like, gassing them up. My girl's like, would you shut up? They're gonna come over here. I'm like, yeah, we don't want that.
Dude, yeah, it's crazy right now. Things are just wild.
Yeah,
But
it
on
is.
a real note, it's kind of cool in an essence to see so many people banding together and doing the same thing. I mean, there's a huge difference in opinions in the world, but the fact that, I mean, it's a mandate, so I guess a lot of people are being forced, but the fact that everyone is kind of doing the same thing at the same time is kind of cool.
It is.
You know what I mean? Because
Right.
it does give everyone some kind of sense of community of like, I mean, you've heard it, it's cliche, but we're all in this together.
Right.
It speaks volumes because, I mean, we kind of are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We are. Absolutely. I mean, yeah.
I think it's made people realize how important true connection is between family and friends, because that stuff's become very valuable
This
these
has been
days.
the first time in anyone's lifetime where that ability has been legitimately taken away.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
You know.
For sure.
Yeah. It has.
At least in our lifetime.
Yeah, because like honestly, like I was just saying, like people are my favorite thing about life.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know
Well,
what I'm
dude,
saying?
we're
Like,
the spice.
Yeah, everything else is
We're the
just
spice.
bullshit. Like I love my people. I love talking with them, chopping it up, all this shit, going out, being in the spot, getting like I never realized I'm okay. I won't say I suffer from anxiety, but like
Everyone has anxiety.
and that's what so like I never really realized what my anxiety was until like if I don't have something but there's nowhere to go because everything's closed down, like I find myself just pacing around the house.
Oh, yeah.
And like my girl's like, hey, you need to figure something
You're
out.
making me anxious.
You're making me anxious. And
Oh,
I'm like,
man,
I'm not
yeah.
anxious. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess if I can't get out and do what I need to do, that's when I get
Can't
anxious.
release.
Like, I don't get anxious and like I don't know, maybe if I'm in the right situation or whatever, but it's
Yeah.
not like I get an anxiety attack. I just like,
Oh man.
yeah, get a little anxious.
I need to go outside.
Yeah, so let me, because just like you were saying, I feel like at the very, very beginning of the pandemic, like the initial shutdown, the 2 weeks, the stop, like, I do feel like everyone was on the same page. Like,
Yeah, we were all
I
like,
mean,
yeah, we're gonna beat this.
It super quickly disintegrated.
Yeah, yeah. People are like, you know what? It's nice outside. Like,
Yeah, like it was there. So I remember maybe in like February, I purchased an N95 mask and like I was wearing it and like I was getting shit for wearing it.
are we
People were
talking
like-
Feb 2020?
Yeah, so like the month before the lockdown.
Okay.
Because again, no one knew what the fuck this was. Like they were talking like
Craziness, yeah.
Spanish flu numbers, like 5 to 10%, and I'm like, that's
God.
a major number.
Goddamn.
That's a lot. I'm like, I literally, I came to terms with the fact that I might lose my grandma this year to some stupid fucking, disease.
Some cold.
And like,
Yeah.
we all thought no one knew what it was. So yes, I got my N95 mask and I'm wearing it, and like the guys at work are giving me shit about wearing it at work and stuff, and I'm like, all right, dog. And next month everyone's got masks, and they're like, oh,
You're just a trendsetter, dude.
2 months.
Let's
in,
just
I'm
be
like,
honest. You're just a trendsetter.
No. But 2 months in, I'm like, this all seems kind of stupid. Like nothing made sense. Like I was really just.
It all seems so perfect.
If I am on board with your rules, they make sense and they have a reason, you can bet your ass I'll follow them.
For sure.
Yeah,
For
like,
sure. For sure.
But if you can't tell me why we're doing this,
Yeah.
and
stick to it.
and stick to it, and everyone's on the again, if everyone's on the same page, I'm with it. I'm not here to just be an asshole and mess up the ride. But
Well,
if we're gonna be realistic here, we're living in crazy town, and is it that crazy that maybe I don't wear my mask all the time? I'm like,
Hey, you and me are one and the same.
That's
I wear
what-
my mask where I'm supposed to. Like, if I'm gonna go in somewhere, I'm gonna put my mask on.
Right.
If I'm gonna go into your store, if I'm gonna enter your restaurant, or if you ask me to put my mask on because I'm in your house, I'll respect
right.
that.
I'm not gonna.
But at the
start
end of the
a fight
day,
and get kicked out of nowhere, or tell you you're a sheep or anything like
no,
that. Like,
I'm not extreme like that. But I'll tell you what, man. I think it's so much of it. I'm just gonna say it, dude. I don't even care. A lot of it seems like hocus pocus.
Well,
it's a lot. It's listen.
Yeah.
People are dying.
No.
The numbers are real. They're a little inflated.
I'd say
they're
a lot
inflated.
But yes.
But the thing is, I'm gonna live my life regardless of what's going on.
right.
And a big part of people's fear from this whole pandemic is stemmed from the media.
Yes.
Coming from a person that has no media
Major.
input, I don't watch the news. I don't use Facebook. My Instagram is pretty much just stuff that I like.
Right.
Bikes, snowboarding, friends. I essentially have no media input when it comes to what's going on in the
Right.
world. Whereas, as some people might say, that's ignorant. But for me, if you were to not pay attention to that and look around, how is it directly affecting your life?
Right. If something is
You
really
wouldn't
that
necessarily-
important and newsworthy that it comes across me organically outside of the media,
Yeah.
then I know it's something like it's obviously affecting someone close enough to me to talk to me about it. Okay, so now my ears are perked up. But like,
Sure.
of course, 90% of the news and stuff is just entertainment. It's a TV show,
And you
just
gotta-
like anything else. They
and you
gotta
gotta think
sell
about the-
advertisement and all
You
that.
got to think about the people that are controlling who owns the news.
Right, well, yeah.
Who owns the media?
We can go deep.
This is a rabbit hole, man.
I'm saying.
This is a rabbit hole that we could
But
get lost in.
But here's the deal: if you can approach it appropriately, like there's conversations here that need to be had because,
sure.
I say you have to approach it appropriately. Like if you
gotta-
take one side step off, the people will come for you. And in all honesty, we're a small podcast. Who knows who's really listening? So say what you want to say. But here's where I knew it was all like hocus pocus. My girl brought me home a mask that is a good enough mask to get me into the gas station, whereas if I don't have a mask,
Covers
I
your
won't
face.
get in.
Yeah.
But it's called a fashion mask.
Sure.
It very specifically says this is not a medical device. It will not protect you from anything. It is a fashion mask. And I'm like, okay.
It looks
I'm
nice.
done. I'm not wearing a
It
mask.
looks nice, but it's not medical.
It doesn't. It's a spit catcher, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's literally it. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't. But so I was having this conversation today. So, I got to a point where I pretty practically don't wear a mask at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like unless it's like the Mopop, like I'm going out with the family and it's like
It's an outing.
You're absolutely
Yeah.
not getting around it one way or another. But I was having this conversation.
Like if they won't
this
let you in
weekend.
without it.
So now, okay, so all the fucking Karens and stuff who are like,
Karens and Kevins.
it's discrimination if you don't serve me for not wearing a mask, yada yada yada, right? And they all make a big fool of themselves.
Sure.
But so in a very realistic legal sense, the ADA does cover that. If you have a medical exemption and someone discriminates you by not serving you because you're not wearing a mask, you have legal basis to sue that person. Now, yes, I know, and it's some hoe shit. You'll never see me doing that, and if
No.
you do that, that's some bum shit.
It's petty.
But
It's petty.
it does happen, and there are people who make their living doing that kind of shit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
most of them are these fat fucking slobs.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So,
Keyboard warriors.
Right, and so most of these corporations, like, I'm sure you've seen a ton of these anti-masker videos, and as funny as it is to you, to that corporation, these people actually have a legal case to sue them if that's what they choose to do.
Oh, for sure.
And so now, you can walk into Fred Meyer's, you can walk into Safeway, you can walk into Target, and pretty much any corporate, at least in our area, where I've been going, where there is a mask mandate, you can walk in without a mask because they have been getting sued this way.
Mm-hmm.
So now, the only people who are actually enforcing the state mandated mask are other customers.
Sure.
And the small business owners who are scared of getting the fines of not, going
Requiring
along,
them to mask
not
up.
going along with the state mandate. So now, because before, I got to a point where if you were going to force me to wear a mask in your business, I just wasn't going to shop there. Just like you have the right to tell me no, I have the right to not shop there. So that's what I was doing.
For sure.
And so now, I can't go into the small businesses because even if they don't care, they might have a customer in there who does care and is
For sure.
ready to go and report you because you're not listening to the rules. So
For
now,
sure.
again, the small business is getting boned, and the corporate is the only place I can take my money because everyone else still trips about the mask. So,
You see how this works?
if this is not a cabal, I don't know what it is. Like,
Yeah.
it's it's crazy. I haven't heard anyone else really put it that way, but I was thinking about it this weekend. I'm like, that's fucking insanity.
It makes a lot of sense when you actually
so-
put it in perspective like that. Yeah.
And so all I ask for, I know my voice doesn't count for any more than yours does or anyone else's in this room.
For sure.
but
For sure.
Just get rid of the mandate. I don't care if you want to wear a mask. If that
Yeah.
makes you feel
Let it be a
safer,
choice. Let it be a
that's
choice.
fine. I have no problem with that. But don't tell me I have to.
Should be a choice.
And then try and give me some bullshit reason why.
Yeah.
Like, if you can come up with a legitimate reason and make a good argument on why I should, I'm willing to listen. But I have not heard one yet.
A good debate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's all. I don't mind having people on, like, even if you're like a super, people are into their mask. I have no problem with that. Like, we'll talk it out.
Some people
We'll
like
see
to.
whose ideas
Some
are
people
better.
like to bejewel them, and you know what I mean.
Right.
Maybe they even girls only have to do half their makeup.
I did hear this. I'm a big pro for masks and women, because we're all about the women on this show. I said, what was it? It's been a year of mask mandates, and it's been a year without a dude telling me I should smile. I'm like, okay, you girl. Like,
yeah.
I'm glad you don't have to deal with that
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hate that. Like,
They've also been enjoying that year of face acne as well.
oh god,
Dude,
yeah,
that's been a complaint
true,
by I feel like every
too.
girl I know.
That's
They
for
have to wear
sure.
masks all day at work.
Yeah.
My wife too.
The gym.
So Yeah. So
Get used to it, man.
Essentially, up until I got kicked out of Planet Fitness, that was the last place.
You got kicked out for not wearing the mask?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You want to hear the story?
We're talking about it.
Yeah, okay, so I got a membership at Planet Fitness. Now this is my second time. I had another Planet Fitness membership, and if you aren't aware, Planet Fitness is just a curbs for men. You are not allowed to make any noise while lifting weights. You are not allowed to carry gallon water jugs. You are not allowed to wear muscle tees. It is a no lunk place. They are actually.
That's a good word because that is on the wall. I've been there.
Yeah, it's pretty prejudicial, honestly. Like,
don't hate on me.
You have a gym where you can't have people work out, and then they serve you pizza on every first Monday of the week. That's just how I feel about Planet Fitness. But they're $10 per month for a pass.
And it's like technically a nice facility.
They got what you need. It's not a bad facility. Okay, so I got there, and so every time I had my pass for like maybe a month and a half. Every time I went in there, someone would talk to me. You need to have your mask over your nose. Okay, put it over. They walk away. I pull it back down so I can get back to working out.
I get sick if I keep mine on working out. Like I get nauseous, I feel like, from breathing. You know what I mean?
It's not ideal. You're not supposed to work out with that stupid thing on.
No.
But okay, that's fine. I know your job at working at Planet Fitness is not to lift weights. If you've ever been in one, you know. They're all fat slobs. Sorry, is what it is.
Most people that work, I guess that is.
It is.
All right.
Maybe they're not fat slobs, but they're definitely not experienced in a weight room.
I wouldn't ask any of them for advice to help me.
No. And here's where I really drew the line. The time before I got kicked out, I'm not a big dude. I'm about 170, and I was trying to put up a PR of 130 on the bench. Go for 2 reps, right? So I got one up, and I'm going to push the second one up, and this chick up and grabs my bar while I'm pressing it to tell me to put my mask over my nose, and I almost flipped the fuck out on her. I'm like, I should have. I know, but I didn't want to lose my shit.
That's aggressive.
Super aggressive.
That's aggressive.
You want to lose your shit?
There's time to lose your shit though, and that was the fuck.
Well, I got my time, and I don't go off on people very often. It takes a lot for me to lose my cool.
Push you over the edge, yeah.
I went off on this dude. He did some hoe shit. Okay, so I get in there this time.
Yep.
And I'm just doing like a light warm up. Like I'm just doing chin ups, pull ups, like vertical jumps, like messing around with just this little, shit they got back in the corner. Mm-hmm. I got my ear canceling headphones in. I'm doing my thing.
You're vibing.
Sports Center. I'm getting my, I'm here to work out. I'm not here to,
for sure,
mess around.
For sure.
And so I do all that, and then I start to move over to actually start putting some weight on. And the assistant manager comes up with his little lackey who's like, 18 or whatever.
Sure.
He's like, hey bud, you got a second? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, first you need to put your mask up over your nose. Okay. And he's like, and second, like we had some customers come up and complain that you were being a lunk and grunting and cursing and dropping weights. I'm like, well, I haven't even touched a weight yet. I'm sure I was making noise. I was working out.
That's awkward.
My bad. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
He's like, no. Okay. He goes back. I do my workout.
Yeah.
I guarantee they're watching me the whole time.
For sure.
Good. Right. So I finish up. I'm done. I worked my ass off, and I want the stupid mask off.
Sure.
So I take it off and leave. But I took it off before I was out the door. So
yeah.
I still got my noise canceling headphones in, and I'm walking out, and I guess they were trying to talk to me. I didn't even hear them, didn't look up, go home, and then all of a sudden I get a termination email from Planet Fitness, and I'm like,
oh,
you motherfuckers. And so I'm reading it, there's no reason on it or nothing, and then I get a call, and I'm like, oh, who is this? And he's like, oh, this is Jared from Planet Fitness. I'm like, perfect. Just the person I wanted to talk to.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? Well, we had the prior incident, and then you took your mask off, and I'm like, you feel good about this? Like, this is some hoe shit,
Is
bro.
what you get off
this
on?
This is some hoe shit. Like, I know, and I'm not, I won't say I'm not proud of it, but
yeah.
The dude had it coming. I told him he was a fat slob. I know you've never touched a weight in your life. I know 90% of your job is just policing mass now. Like, that's cool. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dog, this is some hoe shit. Like, you feel good about this? And he's like, well, we never want to lose a member. And I'm like, nah, that's horse shit. You're lying straight to me. Because you're going to have to call me anyways. Why didn't you call me first? You terminated my shit and then called me. Like,
yeah.
We're going to have the same conversation. Like,
either way.
If it was really that egregious, you tell me that what I did was wrong. I tell you, okay, I'm sorry. And then when I come back in again, we do it again. Like, that's just how this works.
Planet Fitness.
It was just, it was dumb as fuck.
I just have to point out, it's so hypocritical to have on your website saying you're judgment free.
Right, and then they have a total no lunk alarm.
Saying are like, yeah, you can't grunt or anything. So how do you deal with that? Oh, you have to judge somebody. You have to judge how loud somebody is.
Yes.
Before you go.
They're basing.
Super hypocritical.
They're basing, yeah.
Judgment. So it's not judgment free. Is what I'm saying.
They have a whole alarm in there that like a fire alarm that goes off. No shit, like it's a lunk alarm.
It's judging against the typical gym goers, right? So they're trying to open up a space that's gonna. They're trying to open up a space for the people that are intimidated.
You can't flex here.
Right.
I mean, check out my muscles.
It is a curse for men. Let's be real.
Dude, I'm about to cancel my membership, bro.
That's what I'm saying. So now I'm getting into an MMA gym, and I'm gonna. Oh, well, here's the best part.
Is that Puyallup? Oh, you're in.
No, I'm up in Maple Valley, but I don't know where I'm going yet. This shit's a little more expensive than $10 a month, but.
Let's be honest. Every other place is, man.
I know.
Every other place is.
I'm like, you know what, dog? Like, this is some hoe shit. Your employees are all retards. Like, here's the deal. I don't want to come back. I've only been here for 2 months, so I need every penny back. And he's like, okay, I'll make the call, and it'll be 7 to 10 days. I'm like, Jared, you hear me clear? My money's not here in 7 to 10 business days. I will come down there and talk to you, bud. He's like, I'm like, so make that call happen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got all my money back.
You should, as you should have, dude.
I'm like,
He was sweating.
motherfucking
He was sweating.
Ooh, see, I don't like getting that upset, but sometimes you
know,
gotta
some people deserve it, dude. Honestly, and the thing is, he was just doing his job. At the end of the day, he has rules to follow, but
there's a way to approach it. Like
that could have been handled totally different.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
But again, I was already like, every time I go in there as I'm just irritated. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I love going out, but if you're gonna fucking police me about this mask, I don't want anything to do with your business. I don't want to be. That's just what it is. I won't show up.
Yep.
I won't be there. And if it is really something I want to be at, I will try to walk in without a mask.
Well, because the thing is,
if you tell me to put one on, I will tell you I have a medical exemption.
Well, because the thing is, let me just touch on that because I was thinking it earlier. You can have a self-stated disability without showing papers.
Under HIPAA law, you don't have to tell anybody shit.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You don't have to tell anybody shit.
So anyone in the world can literally say, I have breathing problems.
I have a medical exemption.
You can ask me why is legal.
Yes.
At a restaurant, for example, if you will bring in a Negro dog, like you aren't allowed to ask.
It's under the ADA.
It's discrimination.
Reasons. Like, you're not even allowed to ask that question.
There's a lot of discrimination laws in real estate too. Let me just throw that out there.
That's what I'm talking about. It's some hoe shit, but if you're a hoe person, you can sue the balls off someone who kicks you out for not having a mask as long as you state you have a medical exemption and they continue to...
You can be sued for damn near anything these days.
Well, that's a rough... Okay, well, we just went off on a tangent. That was pretty fucking cool.
That's life, man.
So let me ask you this. Haziri, did you learn anything in there, or was it literally top to bottom a Ponzi scheme? Did they provide any materials or any like lasting business knowledge that you can apply elsewhere?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they gave me a stronger ability to connect with people on the basis of not only just trying to sell them something, but trying to help them get a healthier lifestyle or get something that they want. Exactly. They kind of helped me see the value in something. And so I take that same type of mentality into buying and selling homes, where, you know, a lot of people would refer to agents as, you know, as money hungry, right? Like they're only in it for the money, or like they're only in it for the paycheck.
They're only in for a job.
But being through a couple different type of customer service jobs, I kind of realized that there's
different mentalities.
You get a lot further when you put your client's needs first.
Right.
If you're doing it for your client and not for yourself, it's going to go a lot further. Things are going to happen a lot better. You know what I mean? And it comes down to being a little bit more selfless.
Serving people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to do it sometimes.
Yeah. So, and the reason I ask that is because, you know, anytime you bring up the ML, like I honestly, I attribute probably 85% of my business acumen to Amway. Well, not even to Amway, through Worldwide, but that's kind of a little convoluted.
Yeah.
Discussion,
a little commingled.
Yeah. Well, in all honesty, Amway, I guess I'll get into it real quick, see if I still knock the rust off this talk. So Amway is just a company that makes a bunch of products that everybody uses, and they have a payment structure for, the independent business owner.
Sure.
Now, what Worldwide was a specific business training system.
Sure.
And so, it taught me how to sit down and have a conversation with someone. What farm is, family, occupation, recreation.
Touch into their feelings.
Yeah, getting to know the people. Like, I guarantee there was nobody else at 21 out of my friends who was every night for like 3 years driving to random grocery stores, not to buy any food, but to comb the aisles and talk to random people. Like, you're not getting that training anywhere else other than MLM. But did I feel like a fool? Do I have 600 numbers of people I've never met and will never talk to unless I'm probably promoting something to them?
Of course.
Yes, I do. And you know what else that means? I can go out and do it again for my own company.
Yes.
Because that's really what it does, is it teaches you how to build your own. It takes all the struggle, like all the hard shit of building a business, the logistics and systems, employees and legal and all that shit. They take care of all that. All you have to do is just sell the product.
They give you a model.
Yeah.
They give you a model and you can run with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I recommend people do their research, because not every MLM is built the same. Some are fucking scams through and through. Some are Ponzi schemes. Amway's been around for almost 60 years. They run more revenue than the NFL, Best Buy,
That's
every
wild.
single year. Yeah, they're a big
My
company.
grandmother has been doing it since at least as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
So,
It's kind of one of those
they're
things.
Multi-level marketing.
Right.
They're not a pyramid scheme.
No, it's totally legal.
Pyramid schemes are illegal.
Like, no,
pyramid schemes are illegal.
More about the product.
Well, because it's a scheme, not a scam. It works. It
Right.
does work, because that business model.
That was good. I like that. A scheme, not a scam.
It's a scheme, not a scam. So
Yeah,
it's like
that makes
it's 100% scalable.
right.
If you take their advice, you do what they say, and you build it in the fashion that you were instructed to, then you by all means have the ability to make a ton of money off of it and live the life that they promise you.
Right.
Will everybody do that?
No.
Definitely not. Will maybe 2%? Most likely.
There's a reason why that 98 and 2% number shows its face very often.
Well, it's like, they say that 1% of the world's population holds the world's wealth.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the 80-20 rule. 80% of the wealth is owned by 20%, and 20% of the rest is shared by the other 80%. It's
a thing, because
it's true.
Just like anything in life, it's essentially scalable, and you can take it as far as you want to.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I'm not,
Yeah, especially for young people. Like, if you get an opportunity to get around an MLM, that's, do your research, check.
You gotta believe in
Business
it. You have to
Bureau.
believe in it.
Yeah, you will. For sure.
You gotta believe in it, man.
You'll get tested on that, brother. There's no two ways about that. You get about 2-3 weeks in and realize none of your friends want anything to do with this, and it's a long road. But
I've done a lot of promoting in my lifetime, whether it be for music events or products that I was selling on behalf of companies, even trying to market myself as a real estate agent. I've done a lot of promoting, self-promoting. And I think one of my biggest obstacles getting started in that type of atmosphere, or I guess career, really was getting over the fear of rejection and failure.
Yeah.
Because that kills more dreams than failure ever will, is not starting. I mean,
Right. Can I be honest? I've never been scared of failing.
and that's awesome, because there's a lot of people that are. They don't want to make a mistake. So much to the point that they don't try.
And maybe this is like a new way of thinking. I'm trying to figure out how to put this, but I've never considered, like, even if something like, okay, Amway, perfect. Like,
Sure.
I don't consider my Amway career a failure.
Right. Because
for
you
sure
obtained
got
something from it.
nowhere near where I expect, like where I really thought I was gonna go with it and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like,
Zri, yeah.
I don't, and maybe it's just like, maybe it's just the context of the word failure. But like, I always look at failure as like, that's the end of the book. You know what I'm saying? Like, failure, like you can run a business that's maybe not profitable, or maybe it doesn't hold your attention for as long as you thought. But like, I pulled the plugs on things and not considered them a failure. I just got out of it what I needed for the time. And
Lesson learned.
yeah, exactly. You don't lose, you learn.
How many times did Donald Donald Trump bankrupt any number of his businesses, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
If you don't try, you won't
any
succeed,
of those
man.
really failures, and it's like,
They're all stepping stones.
yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're getting at. They're all stepping stones because the thing that you're doing now is setting you up for what's coming next.
Exactly.
That's literally just how life works.
Life makes sense in reverse. Like when you get to the end of the rope, it makes sense in reverse. But like going through it, you're like, what the fuck?
What is going on, man?
How is this? Are you sure you're doing this for me and not to me? Because it feels like you're doing this to me, bud. You know what I'm saying? Like shit don't make sense until you look at it in reverse.
Are you big on like manifesting and like the law of attraction? And I mean, do you practice that type of?
As far as like visualization and like dream boards and stuff, no, not that I haven't looked into it.
Yeah.
I have my outlook on it is I don't necessarily have an end goal.
Sure.
I know I'm gonna work every single day for the rest of my life.
Yep.
And so the way I look at it is just do your best every day.
Do your best at what you're doing.
Yeah.
And try to be better than you were the day before.
You're never gonna hit a point where all your problems dissolve away because you're so successful. You're never gonna hit a point where you know what I'm saying. Like,
I've come to realize, man, that wealth gives you options, right?
Right.
Which makes you comfortable, which in return can give you some good memories. But I mean, everyone said it, man. It doesn't matter if you're the richest person in the world. It doesn't make you the happiest.
Right. I always looked at it like. So here, I'll tell you mine. Right. If I were to put an end point on what I'm aiming for, it's $2 million a year, every single year in residuals.
Sure.
For my life and for the foreseeable future. Like
Sure.
that point, that's the point where I say, all right, maybe it's time to, find a beach or a cabin on the river or something, enjoy your fruits and duck off.
Man, if you're netting $2 million a year, you can do pretty much anything you want.
That's exactly what I heard from someone. At $2 million a year, everything just kind of becomes free. Within reason. You're not buying houses and shit every year, but within $2 million, that's...
Depends on who you're working with, bud.
Yeah, that's the truth too. See, good call. I think that's what, like 175, 180 grand a month for $2 million a year, something like that.
Significant.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna take my whole life to figure out. But it's not like once I hit that mark, like,
you're gonna stop.
Right.
It's not like that.
In all honesty, the way I think of it is like so
you have too many people counting on you, too many things, too many moving pieces,
right,
to stop at that point. You know what I mean?
One of my favorite things about Amway was
666,000 a month
is ongoing income, right? So no matter what, that money's gonna show up, yada yada yada.
And let's just be honest. The only way that you're really gonna hit those numbers on a regular basis is either sales or, like you said, residual income through. In terms of investments or sales,
There'll be multiple streams.
Yeah. It has to be.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not gonna save your way to $2 million a year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, not on an hourly wage.
So look, like a good year in the stock, pretty average year in expectations if you invest conservatively is like 5%.
Sure.
So in order to get $2 million a year just in stocks, you have to have $40 million in the stock market, and that should pull out 5% is $2 million a year. That's not including dividends or anything like that.
Sure. So hit the lottery, live off the interest, and just call it good.
No, you gotta make in surplus of $40 million because that's just what you're putting into the stock market.
That's just the investment.
Right? That's what I'm saying. So, and if you can pull $2 million a year every year for 50 years, that's $100 million. Like when you can break it down to $2 million a year, and that sounds like much more of a reasonable goal. But when you figure out what goes behind creating $2 million a year in profit, like you're talking about $10-15 million floating around at all time throughout your year.
Constantly.
It requires, some thought to figure out where you're gonna get all that.
It's all risk.
I don't have all the answers.
It's all risk and reward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And leverage.
And it's luck too.
There's some luck involved with that.
It's a big portion of it.
Right place, right time, right person.
Did you switch up the way you were making money in the pandemic? Did you find new outlets or new ways to make money, or?
Yeah, I guess in the sense that I got more involved with the investment side of real estate as opposed to just the retail side.
Interesting.
Yeah, so as working with investors, I got to see how they did business.
Right.
You know, they'd pull out a
Fake
sheet.
money.
Yeah.
Like the magic money. See, that's not money I have experience with, and those are the people I'm trying to get in touch with right now.
Yeah, and so I kind of got to see how that was broken down and happening, you know, how they're basically picking up these properties and looking at them essentially on a sheet to say, okay, like these are all my expenses, this is what I can expect, this is what I can convert to, this is what I'm going to get every month, this is what I'm going to net. And being able to witness that time and time again, I was like, you know, that's actually pretty simple, you know? And so I started getting into more of that side of the ratio.
So you learned the formula of what they were looking at within the numbers to see what makes sense.
And the thing is I have all the experience for it. I was just.
And is this like wholesale buying? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So I started tapping into wholesaling, looking into tax liens, foreclosures, utility liens, all these places where these people are behind in their mortgage payments and all this type of stuff. And you can essentially buy those liens from the owner of the liens, right? So now you secure the lien to that property.
Which essentially what you're saying is you can pick up their past due payments and then you now own their home.
Sometimes, yeah. So you essentially have to foreclose on it, but there's different ways to come at it. I mean, I don't want to give away all my secrets, you know what I'm saying, but
well, we're here for the people.
There's so many ways to make money off of real estate as opposed to just being an agent or just being a renter, a rental owner, or a property owner for that matter. You know what I mean? And like I said, it all comes down to risk, reward, and leverage. If someone's going to give you money to invest, take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of what it comes down to. If you can find a hard money lender that wants to give you money to pick up a property at wholesale prices, buy it.
So I'm just thinking in terms of myself.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, in what situation would someone with the kind of money it takes to invest in real estate find me as a suitable person to give their money to? Is that like if I'm coming to someone with a plan, or is that them seeking me out because they benefit from me being on the end holding the money?
Yeah.
Or like.
So there's a bunch of different lenders out there that do hard money. And hard money is basically high risk, short-term payments, and your payments that you're giving to them are all interest.
To the lender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
not covering the principal. Okay.
So basically I went to like Eastside Funding. They're a really big lender in terms of hard money.
Shout out Eastside Funding.
What's up? I went to them and I said, "Hey, I found this property that I'd like to buy. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna renovate it, and then I'm gonna refinance. I'm gonna keep it as a rental, sell it, whatever." So they said, "Okay, $275,000. We'll do $10,000 up front. Your interest is 14%, and you're gonna make interest only payments for 6 months, and then a balloon payment is required."
And what's a balloon payment?
A balloon payment is basically you have to pay off the entirety of the loan up front, like as a whole, a balloon payment. So everything is put into a balloon. You know, it's like all the money owed is due.
Statement.
Exactly.
So you're giving this guy a time limit. I think I can get this done in 6 months. At this end of 6 months, you owe me the loan. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so there's different types of lenders out there where they'll say, "Hey, if you can't pay us this, then we're going to take the property as our own, and then you owe us for the money that you couldn't pay on." There's other people that will loan on your assets. So if you already own a home or you own, 401k or IRA, all those types of things, they'll use that as collateral. So say, "Hey, if you don't follow up on your loan, then we're going to lien on all of your assets."
Okay.
And so there's a bunch of different ways to use what you already have to acquire more.
As far as like your own assets and whatnot, refinancing them and pulling the value of them.
Yeah. So hard money is risky. It's fast paced.
And
like just for example, $275,000 home. I was making a minimum down payment. The payments were like $2,600 a month, 100% interest. That was not touching the principal whatsoever.
None of that was touching.
None of it. That was 100% profit for them.
That's 14% on 275.
Something along those lines. And so up to 6 months, the longer I'm holding it, the more expenses I have. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where it's all
better
real.
work out how you plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, what you're saying is, you go and find the property. You go and do all the work. You go and figure out a bid and an estimate on what it's going to cost to reno.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come to Eastside Funding and say, "Hey, I found this project.
I need this much.
Promising, but I need this much." They say, "Okay, here's your 275 at 14%. You'll be making, interest payments for the next 6 months because that's how long you said you think it'll take for you to complete this project. And if you're not there by then and you don't have the money to pay us, we will take all the work that you've put into this, everything,
And then some.
claim it for ourselves. And
Yes.
then you probably still owe us some sort of fees for defaulting on your loan.
For their time and everything else. They keep your down payment. You know what I'm saying?
So Eastside Funding takes good care of you so far.
I go elsewhere when I can,
I
but
haven't enveloped their wrath yet.
no, I haven't fallen victim to it yet. But it's just like anything, man. You have to trust yourself.
Yes,
and believe
have
that
to
you
be
can
betting
do it.
on yourself.
Yeah.
No one else is betting on you.
No.
They're betting on you failing.
Yeah.
They want you to get 5 months in and then
flop.
Something happened and they get to pick up. Yeah, exactly.
But the cool thing is, man, is they also really want me to succeed because they know
it's
if I
a
can
win-win for them.
Because if I can pull this off, then they're getting their money back. They got to gain all that money in interest, and they just gained a client that's probably
and now
going to come
they
back
know
to
you're
them.
hungry for a second one.
Exactly.
Right.
So they've got me in their newsletter, and they're definitely following up.
So I will say I have fallen victim to the Instagram wholesale realtor.
Okay.
I've had on more than one occasion so my stepsister, she does real estate as well. She's out in the Enumclaw area.
Cool.
And so
Which is growing.
Right.
Enumclaw is growing like
Dude,
crazy right now.
We're going to talk numbers here in just a second on what the market's actually doing because
Okay.
it is a good time to have your job at the moment, it seems like, from where I'm sitting.
If you're a listing agent, for sure.
Yeah.
Buyer's agent's a lot more challenging
Yeah.
because it's extremely competitive.
Yes. So I ran across more than a couple where it's like a 10 tweet string on Instagram and each tweet got its own picture and they break down how they found this house for $3,500. They picked it up and they put together a bid for what it would cost to rent. Didn't do any of that and then found someone else to pick it up and just made $18,000 for essentially doing nothing.
Essence of wholesaling.
So I have to, I'm like, hey, am I missing something here?
Do you want to know how that model works?
Please, because this is what I told her, and she pretty quickly told me, no, it doesn't actually work as...
It works, but just like anything else, there's risk involved.
They sure make it sound nice on Instagram.
Oh, man. Hey, like I said, all real estate agents make it look easy.
Yes.
But if
That's
it were
what makes
easy...
you a good real estate agent.
If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. You know what I'm saying? The essence of wholesaling is they find buyers... I call them distressed buyers. They're people that haven't been making mortgage payments. They're behind in taxes. They owe a bunch of money to a bunch of different people. And they're essentially either at risk of losing their home, their house is in too terrible of condition to sell and cover their expenses. There's like a bunch of different ways to go about. So me as a wholesaler, I would step in. I'd say, hey, I see what you're going through. I'd like to provide you a way out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write you an offer for this much, right? Let's say I find a house, they owe $250 on it. Okay.
$250,000.
Let's just say they owe $250, and they're, they got a bunch of debt. They can't make the payments. They lost their job, whatever it is. And you can say, hey, look, I'm going to take over your debt, right? I'm going to take the house. I'm going to give you 10 grand to walk away, save your credit. You can move on. And then in exchange, before that deal closes, I'm going to take this contract and I'm going to market it to a bunch of different people.
Look what I found.
At a higher rate.
Yeah.
Okay, so I bought it for $250. I gave them $10K.
And you're selling a piece of paper, essentially.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go around and sell it for $300 because market value says it's $350. So people are gonna be like, "Damn, it's a good deal."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm putting $50K in my pocket as soon as I as soon as I sign that contract to another person.
You sold a contract.
You sold paper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So it is exactly what I thought it was. Mm-hmm. They just make it look really nice in a cool little package on Instagram.
The thing is with wholesaling is if you can't find a buyer, you have to buy the property. Okay. You don't have to, but that's the way it works. You put your name on it, then you also put assigned to on it.
It's like a letter of intent kind of thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so they're working on a timeline. Maybe the contract length is 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, and they have that much time to find another buyer for the property, or they're essentially not completely liable, but liable to buy the property themselves, whether it's a good deal or not.
And so majority of the time, these are dilapidated homes, or
I wouldn't say dilapidated, but a lot of times wholesale properties are a little bit beat up. I mean, the ones that I've come across
Right.
at least. But every once in a while, you come across a property that's in decent shape, but they're behind in
I was gonna say most people in financial struggle are not upkeeping their home.
No, they're not great at maintenance.
Yeah.
They're not great at maintenance.
Okay.
The house that I just went and looked at that I was gonna buy with Eastside Funding for $275. I mean, it was a tiny little house. It was a 2-bed, 1-bath, maybe 700 square feet, and it was like a full reno. Like I'm talking
Already done.
new. No,
Oh,
it was thrashed.
Oh,
it was
okay.
thrashed. Like all the floors were ripped out to plywood. It needed like a full drywall. I was gonna do a full reconfiguration of the walls because the bedrooms were like the size of closets, and it was a lot. I mean, the siding was rotten. The roof needed to be replaced. There was no flooring. There was holes all throughout the drywall. There was light fixtures hanging from the ceiling by wires. It was just a mess.
And in these hypotheticals, or this is a real situation, are you seeing any of that before you purchase, or are you buying the house? Are you buying the house sight unseen, or are you?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends.
Depends on if you ask them to come and check it out.
If I were a big time money investor, I could look at the numbers and say, no matter the condition, I can buy it for this much. I can invest 30 and turn around and make a profit.
Okay.
But for someone like me, who's essentially starting out with that small time individual, yada, 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 there's
Don't have
no
your
way
own
that I'm
home.
going to buy stuff sight unseen. That's just absurd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could literally buy a pile of poop, not realize it.
Who knows what's going on?
And so-
You can buy a meth lab. It's Washington.
And that's a big problem, because if on paper, I mean, technically it should be disclosed, if you buy a house that was the site of a drug manufacturing operation, the
things they
value,
don't talk about.
yeah, the value of the home is dramatically cut down because those fumes, the walls absorb it.
Yeah, there is no getting rid of it.
So-
well, there is, but it involves usually fire.
Burn it down. There's spiders in here, man. We're gonna torch it. So yeah, if you bought a property that was formerly a drug manufacturing facility, that's like something that has to be disclosed to buyers.
Yeah.
Because it's a big thing. I mean, people, you could sell a house to someone that didn't have record of that, and now all of a sudden they're getting super sick.
Right, and
You
now
know what I
you're
mean?
legally liable for that.
Yeah, and so that's what we like to call a latent defect. Something that you can't see that's there.
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna get at. Like even, yeah, that stuff is cooked into the walls. Like I don't know if you've ever been in like apartments where the people smoke inside or anything
Right,
like.
it smells.
Well, okay, you're really you know.
Oh,
the
yeah.
walls are yellow and all that stuff. I don't know what inside a meth lab looks like, but
Man, my mom, when I was younger,
those walls might be starch white.
hit up the cartel, dude. They might buy it from you. My mom, she's been a property manager for a long time, and I've followed in her footsteps. She's been a great role model for
Cool.
me.
I was gonna ask where the real estate came from.
Yeah, my mom did it when I was younger. She's, the family business, the property management business that I work for is hers. I help her run it. She's basically retired now.
Oh, sweet. Okay,
Yeah,
so it's a family business.
It's a family
then.
business, yeah.
That's so fucking cool.
It's cool, man.
I'm jealous of that shit.
I really
got no
enjoy it,
family
man.
businesses
You know
in
what I
my
mean?
family. I gotta
It's
start
cool.
my own.
Literally though, I grinded.
Yeah,
I started
someone's got
hardcore
to.
from the bottom, dude. Like, it's not like I was given any sort of benefits. Like, I started as a maintenance man, making $10 an hour, rolling around in crawl spaces with rats and mice,
Houses?
maintaining old homes, dude, and
Yikes.
crappy apartment buildings.
Non-renovated houses.
Crappy, dude. And $10 an hour, minimum wage. It's I just went from there and kept going, and now here I am, like maybe, I don't know, 8 years later.
I think maybe the misconception probably comes from like the corporate world where
Yeah.
nepotism is a thing, but you don't hear about nepotism in family businesses because it's generally cleaning toilets. I don't think there's any true family business where they start you at a VP position or
No.
something. So that's kind of a weird misconception that goes around with like family
Yeah.
businesses where you think you
Nah,
got
man.
it in because your parents are the boss. Like,
No, if anything, she was harder on me than anyone there. Truthfully.
yeah, you're the boss's son. Like, you can't fuck up. You're
I was
setting
getting
an
shit
example.
on, man. I was getting shit on for a long time. But the management thing is a family business. My mom was in real estate. back in probably from like '05 to like '07, and then the crash hit.
And did she pretty primarily stay in one lane as far as like?
Yeah, so she
Yeah.
went from property management to real estate.
Okay, because I was gonna ask. It sounds like the diversification of finding different ways to make money through real estate. It sounds like it could possibly be kind of a new revelation within the business, and you guys are like now exploring the different options. Or?
Yeah, so I worked for them for a number of years, became like a property manager. I managed like a little storage facility and stuff. And I basically was like, man, I don't want this 9 to 5 anymore. I want to work for myself, appreciate the opportunity, and I quit.
Yeah, you showed me how to do it, Mom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I left. I went to Windermere. Same broker that she had was now my broker. And so
okay,
he knew
nice.
her, and he put me on, and he kind of like showed me the ropes, which was super cool. But I initially left. I was loving real estate. Super hard though when you first start out, because I was like 22, 23. Who wants to let a young 20-year-old sell their $500,000 home?
Yeah.
Like, that's tough.
Take care of the most important financial decision you'll make in your life.
Yeah, so that was tough getting started, but they basically said, hey, you got your real estate license. We don't have a single family rental department at the company. What if we gave you the opportunity to build that?
The single family department?
Yeah, so
Okay.
they managed condo associations and homeowners associations, shopping centers, apartment buildings,
Okay.
all that type of stuff. So they had nothing in the single family department. And they basically said, hey, how about you come and do that? You'll be commission based. For everything you bring in, you get a cut of, et cetera, et cetera. And so that kind of brought me back into property management. And once I started to see the value in being a property manager and an agent, I was like, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense.
I don't have to be one or the other.
Yeah. And what's cool, man, is if real estate ever chills out, it seems like management really picks up.
Well, yeah, because that's exactly what I wanted to get at. Because there are good and bad times in the real estate market.
Oh, yes.
From that perspective.
Or personal injuries.
Yes, but exactly.
Did you ever try
like
showing
you
a home
said.
on crutches?
No, I haven't.
Don't do it.
I've never been on crutches. Luckily, I've never broken
Oh,
any bones.
man,
or
I've been on
anything
crutches
like
too
that.
many times.
I had one cast for a sprained wrist. My dad didn't believe my wrist was sprained, and he had me do a handspring or like a cartwheel or something, and I just went down like a sack of potatoes.
Man, when I snapped my Achilles, I had a wrist guard on because I had sprained my wrist the Friday before. I got a concussion and sprained my wrist the Friday before that, and then went up snowboarding and snapped my Achilles. It was a tough year for me, man.
So, and to not miss your point though, you said management. People are always going to be living in a house.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's a good or bad market, there's still people living in houses. So
People are not buying homes, they're renting homes. Because
Right.
no matter what, people need a place to live.
Because I think the biggest thing in this generation we're seeing within the economy, okay, so right now we're in a pivotal place where each person is realizing the ability to monetize every aspect of their business. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
30 years ago, you would never rent out a room in your house on Airbnb or, Turo your commuter car on the weekends because you're not going to work that day.
Turo's lit, by the way.
Yes, it is.
I like them fancy cars, man.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to
Alfa Romeo.
I'm going to Arizona here in a few days, and I got a sick caddy I'm about to be rolling in.
That's so cool. Yeah. But so we're getting into this area where I think everyone realizes your one source of income is not enough. For one, whether or not
You're limiting yourself.
Even if you get paid more than what you spend to live, you're still dependent on someone else. That job can, eliminate at any time.
What happens if
even
that job goes belly up?
What if it's
lawsuit
outside
happens?
of your control?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The economy crashes, and now your
pandemic
company's no
comes.
longer selling their products.
That's what I'm saying. So everyone, as soon as that lockdown hit, you saw a lot of people pivot, and that's the kind of shit I'm interested in. Is what are these new ways people are finding of making money? Because that's what I'm always looking for. I don't need, I would much rather have 5 ventures making me $2,000 each a month than one venture making me $10,000 a month.
Oh, your eggs are all in the same basket at that point, man.
What I'm saying.
What happens if you drop that basket?
You are always at risk.
You're dependent.
Exactly. You are absolutely dependent.
Subject to.
That is one thing that I despise.
Yeah.
One of the biggest compliments I can give anyone
Single track
on this
mind.
planet, and I don't hand it out all that often, but when I do, it's deserved.
Yeah.
If I can tell someone I don't have to worry about you, that's
Yeah.
like my biggest compliment.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because I realized, like, no matter what, no matter who you are and how well you do, like, you are a burden on someone else one way or another. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, all my buddies who are out there hustling, like, whether or not you're getting paid what you think you're worth, like, you're a burden on my mind because I'm always looking at other people thinking, you know, is he working? Like, I have
What's
to
he
worry about him.
doing?
Is he still on the move? Is he feeling down? So, like, if you can be... no matter what you do, you're gonna be a burden on people, but be a good burden on people. Like, I like checking up on people and hearing they're getting into the shit. Like, you know what I hate hearing? Ain't shit new, just chilling.
Just been
Same
working.
old thing.
Just
I'm
working.
like, oh God, that is like fucking death to my ears.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's small talk, man. I don't really enjoy small talk all that much. You know what I mean? I like getting deep with people, whether it's a
Right.
stranger or not. I like knowing what makes people
I can have
tick.
a fake conversation with anyone.
Uh-huh.
but,
This ain't the news.
If we got history, like, I'm here to go deep. Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to press your buttons. I'm trying to see what, get you a little...
I want a good debate.
Yes, I want to make sure you're still alive.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you're not just reciting everything you've heard. I want to hear your thoughts. on
Yeah, man.
things.
I can fully agree with that. You know, there's so many people that just they stick to the routine. They do what's easy. They do what they know without expanding their horizons. They're not thinking outside of what they know.
Right.
They're not reaching beyond what they've reached at. And that's almost like a death sentence if you're not growing.
Yeah, getting complacent or comfortable, like, those are the
That's
biggest
a death
C words,
sentence, dude.
like,
That's
my kid can throw around the word cunt all he wants, but if he's talking about being comfortable or complacent, like, we got issues.
We got a problem.
bud. You
I
can
just-
go sleep outside tonight.
you're gonna work for this house,
Oh,
boy.
shit, dog. You
I
gotta
got-
learn how to pitch a tent because I ain't teaching you.
A good adjective, man. That's called being cunty.
Yeah, dude, love that word.
Cunty.
That one gets it across. Like, you can be a bitch, you can be this and that, but hey, if you're being a cunt, like, man or woman, you're fucking up. I'll let
Step
you know.
it up. In other countries, though, that's a completely it's almost a friendly term. Hey, what's up, you cunt?
Yeah, yes, bro. Do you ever?
Uh-oh.
I might have my producer pull this up. Do you ever watch videos of like British slang?
It's funny, isn't it?
Dog, if you can find a good like Cockney accent video, like,
I live for that, man. Even like London like bass music, man. I love it. I love it.
see if you can find me some 16-year-olds from Britain, like 16-year-old white kids, like wannabe gangsters. Yeah, 16-year-old wanksters from Britain.
Have you ever seen the movie Legend?
I don't think so.
It's with what's his name, man? Anyways, if you ever get the chance to watch Legend, do it. It's the same. I can't remember his name. If you can pull it up when you get a second.
Pull that up because I doubt you're gonna find the video.
It's called the movie Legend. Not I am. It's Legend. It's about these like British London gangsters. Legend definition. So who's the main actor in this? What's his name?
2015.
This is one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
It is like so subtly hilarious. As soon as you say his name, I'm gonna. Tom Hardy.
Oh, okay.
That dude right there. So he plays both roles. So it's like these twin brothers that are essentially British gangsters.
Yes.
One is like slightly on the spectrum.
Right.
And the other one's like a total businessman, and it's like the downfall and rise.
And this is not a movie; it's like a full series, right?
No, this is a movie.
Oh, it is a movie.
This is a movie. If you ever get the chance to watch it, dude, it is hilarious,
I
dude.
started it. Yeah, I remember they getting like a big fight or something.
Yep.
And so like Tom Hardy they're twins, so he's playing both characters. And
Yes.
It's like this full fight scene where they're like beating the shit out of each other, throwing each other over tables.
At his own club.
But it's him. It's him beating the shit out of himself.
Yeah.
And he's just playing two different roles. Okay.
I've seen it probably like 3 times, and every time I watch it, I realize something new about it, or I pick up a different joke that I missed the time before. But if you're looking for some funny like British slang, London slang, that's the
I'll have to
movie,
check
dude.
that out.
That's the movie.
You know what, low key, like don't know if I truly believe the statement I'm about to make, but one of like if someone asked me what like one of my favorite movies is,
Yeah.
I don't know that it's like the best movie I've seen, but it is one of my favorites. Have you
Yeah.
ever watched The Accountant with Ben Affleck?
Yeah. Where he's like super OCD, like
He's like super high on the spectrum. He's like a super high functioning autistic.
Yeah.
And like,
But he's a total badass.
Oh my god.
But he's
If
a
you haven't
total
seen that,
badass.
please watch that. That's
please
a
watch it. It is
gangster
quality.
movie.
I'll look you in the eyes and tell you that.
Oh, dude, I have no idea how to even send you to the right video, but it's gonna get us off track for sure. Dog, it's literally like 4 minutes of like the camera just jumping from person to person, and they're talking 15, 20, 30 seconds at a time, and you don't catch a lick of what they're saying.
No.
But they mean what they're saying, bro.
Oh
They're
yeah.
excited.
Oh yeah.
4 English teens talking in a room. I don't know, something stupid
Sounds a
like
little
that.
sketchy, dude.
That sounds a little suspect, bro.
They're just
Don't Google that, man.
sexual.
It's on YouTube. We need some reason.
Don't Google it.
Okay, so let me
Nugget.
ask you this: like, for someone who wants to get into real estate, is the best route to start wholesaling? Is it going and working for another company? Is it just going out totally on your own and learning the ropes? Like, what would you recommend for someone who wants to get into real estate?
Well, it depends on how you want to get into real estate. Do you want to be an agent? Do you want to be a wholesaler? Do you want to be a consumer? Because that's the thing. There's not one right way to do it.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So I guess I should have worded it better. From my perspective, so what gets me excited about wholesaling is the fact that you can make 50 grand by flipping a quick little piece of paper.
And sometimes it's not that much. Sometimes
No,
it's
no,
only
I know.
like 10,
Sometimes
12.
It's only 10, 12, 15, 17. Right. But still, 10, 12, 15, 17.
And you don't need a
piece of
license
paper.
to do it.
Exactly.
You
That's
do
why I
not
asked
need a real
this,
estate license to do it.
Because I had a conversation. So look, I'm a businessman, and one way or another, I'm going to be and we can actually have another conversation about this because I want to get your perspective on it.
Sure.
But I have zero interest in owning a home for myself anytime soon. Like, I have no problem just renting.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Like, I don't. When you own a home, everything is yours. It's always your responsibility to
Sure.
fix. Water heater goes out, yada yada, roof, all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a businessman. I'm in the middle of a lot of projects. I do not have time to worry about like keeping my house up to date. Like,
Sure.
I rent because I can tell my landlord, pull up, fix this. That's what I pay you for, right?
Mm-hmm.
But fuck, I just went off on a tangent. And
The thing
forgot where I
is,
came
the
from.
thing is, man, I know what you're getting at. The thing about renting is that you are paying for someone else's dreams.
Yep.
You're paying someone else's dreams.
Right.
The best way to get into real estate is to buy a home, because then you can see how the process goes. You leverage yourself in equity position. You can grow your money. You can show your money. It's scalable. That's, in my opinion, is the best way to get involved with real estate.
Okay.
Is to buy your own property.
Perfect.
Because from there, you have the you can sit on it and let the market grow on its own, just kind of like how Washington has.
Right.
A property 5 years ago is now worth.
I got a buddy who's Redfin told him his house was worth $17,000 more 1 month after he bought it, and I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool. But don't expect $17K every month you live in that house.
It depends on where you're at.
I know.
It depends
He's
on
over
where you're
the east
at.
side too.
For example, 2015, Kaylee and I got a condo for I think it was like $90K
Yeah.
in North Tacoma.
The same spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the spot that we were in for a while. Got it for $90K. Now,
And you guys are out of there now, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
good, 'cause I'm like,
oh yeah, we've been
I
out of
haven't
there.
seen this motherfucker in like a year.
No, we've been out of there.
I was his mailman at one point.
Yes, sir. You and
That
was
is-
that Big Bob? Was that guy's name? The
Oh,
other guy.
Big Frank.
Big Frank.
Jesus Christ! Don't get me started on Big Frank.
So check it out, just for perspective. We bought it for $90K in 2015. All right.
That's fucking a steal.
And it was renovated. We had new cabinets, new floors, vinyl windows, appliances, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we've done a lot to it since then, but we bought it for $90K back then. Let's just say, in perspective, I invested 10 grand into it, probably less than that, truthfully, over the time that we lived there. Now, fast forward to 2021. Just guessing, what do you think I could sell it for right now?
If you bought it for 90, first and foremost, that's
North Tacoma.
insane. Good luck finding any place to live under
North
100
Tacoma.
grand. That's in fucking sane.
And it's
Now,
nice.
One of the guys who runs the homeowners association over there is also a mailman on my route. So I have to imagine you're gonna let that off for like $325.
It's getting close to that, man. Two bed, 1.5 bath. It's pushing 300 right now.
Dog. Okay.
6 years.
How the fuck did you find a place to live for under 100,000?
It was a different market then. It was a far different market then.
So what makes it so different? The demand?
Yeah, supply, demand, and desirability. Tacoma, I think for a couple years now, has been labeled one of the fastest
Top
growing
markets.
and top real estate markets in the nation. And
Yeah.
we didn't have that then. So when that happens, you draw the attention
6
of...
years ago was what, like 2015?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when we got it. And so once you get a label like that, you now get the attention of tons of people out of state. They're like, okay, this is a great place to invest. Let's throw some money. Let's buy some properties.
Right.
And so things have changed. But what never stops in our nation really is inflation, because we keep printing more money.
Yeah.
So what we... Okay.
That's pretty prevalent right now.
Okay.
For people who aren't paying attention.
And so 90K, fast forward 6 years, is now, I'm not saying that this is the value of the dollar, but our investment went up to almost 300,000
Right.
without doing much to it.
And inflation is not gonna.
It doesn't happen that fast.
Number that much.
It doesn't happen
Yeah.
that fast. But
We're
a
talking
typical
Decimals of percentage.
a typical loan is 30 years. An average loan on a home is 30 years. No matter what, in 30 years, that house is going to be dramatically worth much more than what you paid for it because of inflation, because of market changes.
Almost guaranteed.
100% guaranteed.
Okay.
So if you look at real estate in the long-term aspect, it's an investment 100% through and through. Like the stock market, you're not guaranteed a return. They say on average 5 to 7%.
A good year, yeah. It's 5
Okay.
to 7.
That's you know.
S&Ps, indexes.
Okay, and we saw the market crash way back when. People lost all of their 401ks, all their IRAs.
This is 08.
You know what I mean? Even before then, the crash of the stock market happened, during our grandparents.
Yeah, we kind of get one every 10 to 15 years if you're
Right.
watching.
And so the thing about renting a home is you are getting a place to live, but you are not gaining anything else.
Ownership.
You're not gaining anything else.
No
It's not
equity.
making you money.
Yeah.
And so if you're
Yes,
about having
okay,
your eggs
good.
in multiple baskets, the best way to do it is invest your money into something, whether it be mutual funds. I'm real estate because it's tangible. You can change it, you can control it, you can touch it. It's there. It's not just numbers on a screen that are
Right.
fluctuating super dramatically. And even if there is a fall in property values, you still have a place to live. It's not like you're trying
Right.
to sell it.
Because, okay, so that's always been my way of looking at it is it's always been a liability. Like I was taught your house is not an asset, it's a liability.
Who taught you that?
I was in Amway. They're pretty heavy on the no debt. But
Debt is good
I
for
was
you
taught
sometimes.
An asset is something that brings in money every month.
Mm-hmm.
Owning a house is something that costs money every month. Now, if you weigh it out and maybe it makes more money than it cost you, I can understand the asset debate. But just from my point of view, which is why I'd like to talk to realtors, because I don't know that much about real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And every time it gets brought up, I'm thinking, hey, am I thinking right about this or am I thinking wrong about this? And I still am unsure whether I'm right or wrong to not want a house. And it's not that I don't want a house.
It's more responsibility.
I'm not necessarily scared of responsibility. I don't know. I usually end up talking myself like
Would you
onto
ever
your side.
would you ever lease a car?
Probably not. No.
Then why would you rent a house?
Because it's just a. Why would I rent a house?
It's a very similar concept. It's on a fixed term. They take care of all the maintenance for you. Your responsibility is a minimum, but you have something to use for the time being. It's temporary. You're not getting a return on a lease. You're putting money up front to move in. You're paying money every single month to have it. But at the end of the day, you are literally throwing money away at something that you're never going to get back. Ever.
Right. Okay, so I can understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now my concern is,
Yeah.
why go ahead at 25 and purchase a $300,000, $400,000 house, because that's what. And again, okay, so here, because it's what.
Hey,
you're
this is
supposed
no
to
judgment.
do.
This is an educated debate.
And I really have it. I'm just making sure I get the right words out.
Sure.
So, what did I just say?
At 25 to 30 years old.
Yeah, at 25 to 30, because that's when our parents bought their house. You're expected to go out and, buy a house.
Figure your life
at
out,
25, at 20, 25, 30, you're not in the prime of your financial well-being. I can just guarantee you that.
You're on the come up.
Right, you're working your way up.
Hopefully you have an idea.
So, why lock yourself in for 30 years at something that is, and especially like, okay, so you get that job that you've been working for, you went to college for, and now you're locked in and you're going to be there 40 years. Now is the time to buy a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. But me, as an entrepreneur, like, I intend to, like, 10x what I'm making right now. So I have no interest in buying a house in this tax bracket or region because I don't have any interest in buying a house that I'm not going to live in. When you buy a house, you want that to be your house, right? Now, again, I understand you can buy a house and sell it without it having to be that.
Or you can buy it and rent it and let someone else pay off your debt for you.
Right. So that's essentially like, okay. So here's my
and make money on it every single month.
Average first time home buyer age is 34 years old right now.
Wow.
34? Can you pull that up and see what it was in 1990? Average age to buy a house in 1990.
Things have gotten tough for our generation.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, so I'm into alternative options.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
You like options. Let's just.
I like to examine what you were told to do by majority of people, and I like to figure out why that works for most people, but probably won't work for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not opposed. Okay, so if it took for me to not move into a house and live in a van for the next 10 years to secure my financial goals, I'm willing to do that. Now it's a little different. I got a kid, and I'm sure my girl's got different opinions than I do.
She want a shower, bro.
No. Hey, we got a nice lake. We're close.
He's smelling dingy.
Yeah, but I just...
A little musky.
What does it say? 1985 to 1989 was 30?
It's relatively about the same.
Really? Interesting. Yeah, this whole, like, the home buying is, like, the one thing in my life I don't feel that confident I know what I'm talking about when I talk about it.
Sure.
Like, most things I have at least... I'm not going to go out of my wheelhouse and talk about something I don't know. But if I'm talking about it and I sound confident, I probably know what I'm talking about.
Sure. I can respect that.
So here's where I'm at, right? So my dad has worked for Boeing his whole life. He's done well for himself. Right now
he's a lifer,
Yeah, right now he's out in the UK helping their Air Force build the plane.
Okay.
So he has a house up in Maple Valley that he's allowing me to rent, right? And now he wanted me, he's my dad. He made this as a way for me to take it as a stepping stone. He wants me to buy the house.
The cool thing is that it's your dad's. It's your family. So
yeah. Don't let me
hypothetically, let me say, like, he passes away or he wants to hand it down. You're not throwing your money at someone that's...
Right.
Okay, this is a different scenario.
Yes. And I know that's not everybody's scenario, which is why I didn't bring it up. But... because essentially the only way I've thought of a scenario where I would buy the house from him is if I were to buy it and then rent it out. Mm-hmm. But then we get right back to the first conversation we had when we sat down, which is tenants and all the other shit. If it's my house, I have to replace the water heater. I have to replace the roof. I got other shit going on. I can't focus on...
But the thing is, you hire a property manager to do it for you. You pay 10% of your monthly, your rent. You pay 10% of your rent, and that's covered. You know what I'm saying? It really all comes down to hiring someone that knows what they're doing.
So the management will pay for my new roof?
They will not pay for your new roof.
That's what I figured. But they will handle all the stuff to get it in place, right?
And the thing about owning a rental property is it puts you essentially in what's the word? Not even a tax bracket, but you're considered an investor at that point. That is your investment. If it's in a rental property, it's an investment. So any expenses,
you get good treatment through the city once you're
so
kind of
any sort of
producing member of society.
Your house as a rental property is a huge tax incentive, man. Any sort of expense that you have from your house, whether it be a new water heater, new plumbing fixture, a new roof, paint, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Any expense that you have towards maintenance or repairs, most is now a tax write-off.
Okay.
That you can put against your gains to keep money from Uncle Sam.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
Which we all should. Well, yeah, we all should do. Do your best to evade the tax man.
It's the most American,
it's the most American thing.
American thing you can do is
I was trying to
beat
figure out how to
taxes.
say that. You should pay taxes as an American,
but you should also have deductions.
But you should duck as many of them as you can.
Yes, legally.
Yeah. So I just have a different point of perspective than most people. Most people are looking for a nice job they can hold down for 45, 50 years that will pay their bills and keep them in this house.
Sure.
And so I just have a different... So, like, I'm sure you're aware of who Grant Cardone is, right? Mm-hmm. Huge real estate guy. I don't actually, I won't get into specifics because he's on a couple lists of whether he's legit or as legit as he says he is. I don't actually know how realtors feel about Grant Cardone.
The thing is, man, a lot of real estate agents, they blow a lot of smoke.
Everybody's got their own game.
A lot of people blow smoke because the better they say they're doing, the more credibility they have, the more people are going to want to use them.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Because he's talking about, he doesn't even own his home. He doesn't own any of his homes. He looks at them as a liability. And so... But he also was banging on Dave Ramsey, saying, the whole debt-free thing is kind of an old person way to live. Like, you should be, you should use debt for what it's worth. You don't have to, drown yourself in debt, but use debt the correct way. So, I think there is a middle road through everything.
There's negative debt and there's positive debt.
Right, which is something I'm getting familiar with now.
Like a car, 100% liability. It's depreciating in value every single day. But if you're talking classic cars that you can pick up for a low amount and it's going to gain value over time, or you're using it through Turoing it. Yeah, but if you're talking a personal car that you use on a day-to-day, that's probably not feasible.
Right.
If you want to buy a car and put some money...
Which is why I wouldn't lease a vehicle.
Listen, here's a whole business idea right here. You buy a nice car, you put a bunch of money down, you get your payment low, and you buy that car with the intention of using it as a Turo vehicle month after month after month.
Right.
It's being paid off and you're collecting the profit.
I'm glad you said that because you are exactly right. Like, this comes right back to talking about how we're in a place where you should be figuring out how to monetize every aspect of your life. You're already doing this stuff. So there are people, say, okay, you don't want to lease a car, you don't want to go into debt for a car as a liability, as a personal car. But
you can look at it as an asset. There's definitely opportunities.
And it's just about perspective of the way you look at it. Because you can look at a car that's $30,000 as your commuter car, and that is hard to reason that being a good financial decision. But if you can find a Tesla Model 3 for $35,000, that's the only reason you're purchasing it is to Turo it. And then that Turo is going to bring in more money than your payments. You now have an asset, not a liability.
Even though it's losing value every single time it's driven. You're gaining money on it.
In the aspect of selling it as a car, yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The value of it's deteriorating, but you're making money off of it.
Okay, so at what point...
That's the thing about homes, man. They don't lose value. I mean, yes, obviously the market's going to fluctuate. It's going to go up and down. But over the long haul, it's always going to be worth more than you paid for it. I'm talking long term. Okay. Like, is there anyone out there that's lost after they've paid off a home?
Not from the prices I've checked. Anytime I check that Zillow, it's saying, my parents bought our house in 1991, and it was under $100,000 for a whole crib.
And now what? They turn around and sell for $5.
It's like $4 something. Yeah, we just had a house on our block sell for like $425.
I'm saying, my mom bought her house for $260, and she could probably turn around and sell it right now for close to $7.
So, Jesus, that's a good number.
She refinanced, so.
Okay, so.
Do you want to talk about that?
I'm deciding whether or not I want to. Because I don't again, I was taught. Oh Jesus, this thing still has not been plugged in that whole time.
You're just hitting it a lot, so you're hearing the noise from hitting it.
So again, I was taught all debt is bad debt. You shouldn't have debt, right? Which I've slowly worked my way out of. And
We're all
understood.
product of our education.
Right. God, I just had a brain fart. What were we just talking about?
All debt is bad debt.
Refinancing. There we go. I don't know what that means. So a refinance is you've had this property for this long, you've invested this much, you're doing well on payments. Let's take a second, take some time, reevaluate where your credit score is and whatnot, and we'll have a new price for you.
Mm-hmm.
But how does the bank win?
Okay, so essentially there's a couple different reasons that people refinance. One of which is to get a lower rate. One of which is to drop debt consolidation. That's another one. And then another one is from an investor standpoint, you renovate, you buy, you renovate, you refinance, you pull out all of the equity that you gained from renovating.
You renovated it and now it's appraised for much more than it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you pull that equity out as cash or a line of credit. Then you rent it out. You cover that new balance. You take that money that you've acquired, you buy another one, you do it all over again.
Now that sounds like a scam. We might need to run that one back one more time. So you're telling me that they are refinancing the house after they renovated it before they sell it?
So this, I guess, well, if you don't want to refinance if you're going to sell right after, that'd be dumb.
Yeah.
You refinance after you renovate if you want to use that equity for another investment, essentially.
And this is someone who would be keeping the home?
Yeah, as a rental.
Okay.
If you were going to sell the property, it would be stupid to refinance.
Yeah.
Because you're paying for the refinance.
That's why I was like, this kind of sounds like a scam. I got lost there for a second.
My bad. Maybe I wasn't clear. So there's a term that some rental investors use. It's called the BRRRR term: buy, renovate, refinance, and then rent. Okay. So you buy it. You buy it for cheap. Yeah. You buy it for cheap. You renovate it, so you put 30 in, and now when you go to refinance, the house is now worth $100,000 more than it was what you bought
after your $30,000 investment.
Okay, so you refinance, you pull that equity out.
So now the house went from being worth $225 to $325.
Okay, and let's just say they give you an 80% loan to value.
Okay.
So you pull out 80% of the equity that you have in the house.
And the equity is the value it's gone up since you've bought it because you put the work in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So 80% of 100,000 would be 80 grand.
80K.
Okay.
So you pull out 80K from the equity, and then now your mortgage has just gone up because you refinanced the loan.
Yep.
You added that 80K to the loan, and so with a nicer house, you can rent it for more.
Yeah.
So you cover your debt. You're making cash flow on a month to month, and then you also pocketed 80K.
Okay. Now we're talking.
Okay.
This is the kind of shit that gets me excited about real estate. It's usually just the numbers. I love big numbers, but yes, okay, that makes total sense. I understand.
And then you take that 80K, you use it as a down payment, you buy another one because that debt is covered, and you roll it. You keep it rolling, and you can get one after the other. Then once you have enough properties that are cash flowing,
now you have a full portfolio.
You have a full portfolio. All that cash flow that you're making, you put all that extra money onto one rental, you pay it off super quick.
So now you have the home.
Now you have no debt against that. Positive cash flow 100%. And you use that positive cash flow from that one property to pay down the next,
And it's a system.
pay down the next.
Systematic.
And then before you know it, you have 10 rentals that are making you $2,000 each.
That are all paid for.
Yeah.
Even without the
Beautiful.
whole rental aspect and being involved in the real estate market and whatnot. My parents refinanced. I think they've refinanced twice. So like my parents bought this house for 60 some odd thousand back in '84.
Back in Nam.
Right. Yeah.
Back in the day.
And so they refinanced, and then my dad was able to do a remodel, and then they just recently refinanced again.
So they did a cash out refinance is what that's
You can
referred
talk to
to.
him about that and get a better aspect of that, how that would work just in a practical standpoint of you're not even going into renting out houses or anything. You're a home buyer, you want to refinance
And that's another way to do it. Yeah, you can buy it to refinance and do an add-on on your home to make more room for your kids.
As soon as you buy it or decide.
This is like, so for his example, his dad got the house for cheap. He was probably close to paying it off. He refinanced, took a new loan against the home, pulled all that as equity. He got a bunch of cash out to renovate the home. And now he has a new mortgage. When you refinance, you essentially bring out a new loan to cover the old loan.
It's a whole new contract.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You pay off your old loan with the new loan.
Okay.
Some people do it just to get a lower rate. I did it on my house. It brought my rate from 4.65 down to 2.5.
Which makes a huge difference when we're talking about $100,000.
And so, yeah, I got my value in a year and a half. I bought the house for $330. I renovated it and then refinanced it. Got my payment down from $2,250 to $1,750, and my value went up to $505,000.
So you made money all around on the deal.
So I'm saving money every single month.
Beautiful.
And my house is now worth close to $200,000 more than I bought it for.
That's so fucking cool.
And that's money that, I mean, it's not in my bank account, but it's mine.
It's yours. Yeah.
I can use it. I can pull a line of credit on it. I could sell it.
It's
asset.
It's just sitting there.
Asset.
Beautiful. Okay. I think we're coming up on time.
Yep. About 2 hours.
Beautiful. Okay, so I got one more question for you.
Yeah, man.
So we've talked a lot about being on the sales side of things. How about on the purchaser side?
Yep.
What can you tell us about like is it the FH, first time home buyer, FHA, FHS?
FHA.
FHA.
So typically FHA is there to help buyers with median incomes, maybe first-time home buyers.
Which is probably everyone right now.
A lot of people, yeah. It comes with different rates and different stipulations. Like investors cannot use FHA because it's not for making money. Yeah. I don't want to say FHA the wrong way, but Federal Housing Administration or Federal Housing Authority.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, but they're backed by the government to basically insure these loans.
And what it means is essentially if you're going to go buy a home, I think down payment is what? 10%?
No,
15?
no,
20?
no. That's the common misconception. I got a conventional loan on my house for 3% down.
Okay.
FHA 3.5.
So that's what I was just going to say. So the FHA allows you as a first-time home buyer
typically to come in with a lower down payment.
To come in with a lower down payment. Sometimes no down payment. Is that?
Yeah, down payment assistance is the thing.
Yeah. So again, I follow some of these IG's realtors, and they got some crazy little schemes going on. They're talking about using an FHA to buy a multi-home complex, and then if you're not married with your spouse, she can use one as long as she has a different middle or last name. So you guys can buy 2 properties using an FHA. One of them is a strictly rental project that pays for your home.
So, yeah,
I know,
it's kind of a
loophole.
So if what you're talking
that
about,
only works if you're not married.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the only way that I can see that really working is I know that there's a rule that if you buy a 4 units or less multifamily and you live in one of them, then you can do that.
Yep. Yeah. And so essentially what that says is instead of coming up with a 20% down payment on a $400,000 house.
Which is not required.
What do you mean?
You don't have to do 20% down.
You can negotiate, or how do you? Because as far as I've known, that's always been like the standard down payment. So what do you mean? Explain it.
So basically, I'll explain why people want to do 20% down on a loan.
Okay.
The reason you would want to do 20% down is because it brings your loan to value ratio down, and at that point you can avoid mortgage insurance. It's called PMI, pre-mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is basically just another way for the mortgage companies to make money. They insure it because they're saying, hey,
first-time home buyer, he might not come through on
the value of the loan isn't it's not 80% higher than the loan. And so like if you default on the property, we might not be able to sell it for the loan amount. So we're going to make you pay insurance on that.
So we're going to make sure we don't lose any money.
And so people will try to come in with 20% to avoid that extra $200 a month.
Okay.
Not necessary. Mostly so for if you're buying a property as an investor, that's when you're going to be required to put down 20-25%. Okay. But as a consumer, like someone that wants to move into a house, like me, I got into my house for 3% down on a conventional loan, and that's not unheard of.
And did you have to finesse it or any
No,
way? Or
nope.
you just asked them politely, I only have 3.5%?
No. So what you do is you hit up lenders, right? And you just ask them, hey, how much is your down payment on a conventional loan? How much is your down payment on a FHA? And they'll tell you. Not all lenders have the same type of lending abilities. A lot of them have different programs. A lot of them have different incentives,
Based on their capital.
different loan costs, and all that type of stuff. Shout out Ethan McConkey at Absolute Mortgage.
Hey,
that's my
the boy.
dude. I'm not lying.
Him in a minute.
One of the best lenders I've ever used for my personal home, for my family homes, for my business people.
Hey, I'm gonna be tapped in with that now.
Hit him up.
Awesome.
It's free to get qualified, man. You do it through text.
I know.
He'll send you
That's
an app.
the other thing from other business owners out there. Within 2 years of opening up your business, you cannot get qualified. So if you are still working for a job
2
and
years.
you have any interest in buying a home, get qualified before you leave that job.
Yes. Get qualified, then quit.
Yeah, yeah.
And same thing goes for your business. If you want to acquire credit, you need 2 years of being open before you can acquire credit.
Not exactly
Not
true, but
all
yeah,
the time,
yeah.
but that's
the
what
beauty
most
of business
people-
and about living in America.
Everything
There's
is negotiable.
Always loopholes. There's always something. Okay, cool. I won't keep you here too long, bud. I think we did a solid 2 hours.
Yep.
Do you have any people who need a shout out, and do you have any parting thoughts?
Yeah. Shout out Lifestyle Real Estate Northwest, new
We're gonna
company.
put all their tags right here.
Yep. Shout out Lifestyle Real Estate Northwest, new company that I just rebranded. Total Property Management, giving me a bunch of opportunities to grow my business and manage a bunch of investment portfolios. Like I said, Ethan McConkey with Absolute Mortgage. He's
Good
a
guy.
total slayer when it comes to refinancing, purchasing. Eastside Funding, we haven't done a whole lot of business together, but you guys are willing to lend me some money so I can mess with them.
That's always a good move.
Yeah.
And then where can the people find you at?
Oh, I Chase Space on Instagram.
Fucking love your handle, bro.
You like that?
And what's even better is before it was I Chase Base.
Yeah.
And now it's I Chase Space. I'm like, dog, that is fucking tight. That is clean. If you didn't catch it, his first name's Chase too. So
Yeah, Chase Peart, local real estate agent out of Tacoma, Washington. I'm also bringing on new agents. I got my own brokerage. So if you guys are
Beautiful,
looking for
brother.
good cap splits, good
Beautiful.
rates and some good support, I'm your guy.
This guy's in construction, so you guys might have a little combo
Cool.
afterwards. Beautiful.
Cool.
Okay, I think that'll wrap it up for Tac'd today. Guys, thank you for joining. Chase, thank you for coming. This was freaking awesome.
Yeah, man.
We'll hopefully have him back and keep you guys posted on the real estate arena because it's a motherfucker out here. We didn't even get into it, but
Got a little distracted.
Yeah, from what my sister's been telling me, it's been pretty standard to expect about $100K over asking price right now.
King County is crazy like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It is nuts.
Not
So-
as bad in Tacoma, but
Lot
come
of
on,
money.
go over asking. Go over asking.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in our state and city. It's moving with or without you, so figure out how to get it. Love you guys. Thank you, and that's our show for tonight. Boom.